So we were under this project, then I'll just go to the same parameters only. Let me copy and paste the same thing. Let me copy and paste under this and rename this as data provider. So data provider test. Okay, now we'll see what it is there, how it looks like. Let me initially first structurize the it's almost similar to that, but we'll see something. So instead of the parameter here, what I will do, I'll just delete this, and then keyword. Okay, so let's give any keyword name. Let's say data, anything, just some data I'm getting from there. Okay, now here what I'm doing, again the same thing. Let's say that I'm taking different username and password, because yesterday we discussed, I mean, we can have a valid invalid scenarios, right? So those things we will see. Now URL we don't want, because we can pass it from the XML. Let's say that we want to get it all those what you call your valid invalid scenarios. So those things are how we can deal with these things. Okay, so remember this data, this is the name, actually we need to use it. Okay, so here now let me go back here and then create another class, another method. Okay, now this method will provide you the data to your this particular test, whatever the annotations we used. So I am giving a object. I'll tell you what is this object. This is again from your what you call the past, whatever we discussed. I'll tell you what it is. So if you remember the earlier sessions, you will so object is nothing but is the parent class of all the data types. Is the parent class. I mean, if you see the object is your parent class. From there we inherited all those concepts. So whenever I say object array, means it will store any kind of data, any kind of data, doesn't matter whatever it is there. I mean, whether string, integer, or your what you call a double, float, anything, doesn't matter, but you need to provide a two-dimensional array. So if you remember what is a two-dimensional array, where it will store row and combination, row and column combination, right? So I'll show you how it looks like. So let's say I'm putting a valid scenario. Remember what is this Mercury, the login credentials. Okay, this is invalid scenario. Let's say something I'm printing. Okay, now what I need to do here, I need to return this object. I need to return what? Obj. I'll tell you what is, why I'm returning that, why it is throwing error. I think we need to give another, and why it is showing error. This is done for this and this is done for this, so this is extra. Okay, so now let me run this and then we will see. But here if you see something, we need to give a data provider name here, because see, this is my data provider. Now here what I need to give a data provider keyword. This is okay, that is your data provider as a attribute. Now this is, I need to give a data provider like we given parameters. Okay, so the same thing. Now what is the name we given there? Simple thing, data we given right here, so that one, so that it will relate. So when, okay, let me import this. So whenever we are, what do you call, we are calling this method, then what it will do, it will find anywhere the name data provider is data. Do I have something? Yes, I have something here. Then it will take, let me delete these things. These things are not required. It's unnecessary throwing warning on me. You can keep it, but unnecessary it will throw you warning. Okay, so now I'll tell you what is this is simple usage I'm showing. So let me run it first, if it is working or not. Run as TestNG test, because this is a TestNG class. What happened? It didn't run. Okay, it's running, I think. Yes, it run, and the total test run is 2, and you can see that. Okay, so you can see that now see, it ran 2 times. Now this is again one interesting thing. See how many parameters I'm sending from here, it will run that many times, this one. Okay, now you will ask me, array, I taken an object array where I'm putting a two-dimensional array and directly I'm taking. Why not I can use a object array here directly and print that like obj of 0 0, obj of 0 1, obj of 1 0, obj of 1 1. Then I'll get all these things. Why I need to take all this data provider and all those things? This will be helpful whenever you are running your Excel sheet data. See, whenever you see, now this is a hard coded. I know what is the like what you call username and password. I just mentioned here. But let's say that you both are, I mean, so two of you I given, okay, to check your invalid and invalid logins. What you will do, you checked your way of what you call, whatever the credentials given to you. But what about the other person whom I given the same code? What the, if the data is different, you I remember I told you yesterday, we need not to have a what you call hard coded value. I mean, you cannot restrict your code to only use these values. This has to be flexible. You need to get the data at the runtime only. I mean, while running the code, that time only it should get the data. So then what you can do, you can have your Excel sheet. Instead of these hard-coded values, what you will do, you will fetch the Excel sheet value into these things. Okay, instead of this, you will fetch the Excel sheet value and you will pass it. So when you pass these things, this will go and fall under this. Then this will, whatever the action you want to do here, you can write your logic, that how you can enter the username, password, then click on sign in button and then check it if the username and credentials are working fine or not. So for that reason we are using that. Okay, so depending on your requirement, you can use this data provider. It's nothing, again I'm repeating that the only concept here is that initially you give as a test method as usual only. Okay, there is no restriction. Just one thing you need to give here, you need to give a attribute here as a data provider equal to data. Means what it will do, it will run your, what you call, it will search, are there any data provider present in my throughout this class. Then it will search for all the methods. This is also a method, right? Then it will search, oh okay, I got a data provider annotation here. Now what is the name here? Data. Then my, what is the name I provided here? Data. This both will match, and then whatever you are returning here, that will go here to under these two things. So this Mercury goes to username, this Mercury goes to password. You will ask me, how you know that one? Array boss, this is a two-dimensional array. The first value whatever you are sending, this will run for that many times. So how many rows I created here? It's 2 rows. Okay, 2 rows, 2 columns means how many rows? 2 rows means 2 times it will run. The same method will run 2 times. So now you got it right. Why I was telling you can have your credentials valid and invalid scenario. You can write your logic irrespective of your username and password. See how many flexible ways I am giving you. Yesterday you got that properties file where you can give valid username, valid password, invalid username, invalid password. You can give all those 4 variables inside the properties file and you can access. But there you need to create 4 variables. But here you see, here you need not to create any kind of variable. Just a two-dimensional array will serve the purpose, or will perform the task whatever you need. Okay. Now I will give you the one task or an assignment. If you are trying to, you can get the data from here. Now get the data from here. You can use the same code instead of this printing here. What you can do, you do the real time only. You try to get that new tour application, then try to identify the elements, username and password. Click on the sign in button and check it whether these particular username and passwords are really allowing you to log in or not. You need not to do much things. I mean, you need to just put your mind a bit. You can use this particular code and the code at the beginning days I given you for login scenario. So if you what do you call club these two methods, I mean two class files, just you need to I mean what you call club these two and you will achieve this thing. So try it yourself. I mean try to use the data provider and log in with invalid credentials, log in with valid credentials. If you are not getting that, please let me know tomorrow. I will guide you through that. But have a practice. I mean, just try it yourself and let me know if you are getting any issues or something. Okay, so that is one of the way you can get the test data. So this is really important, and believe me, this is again one more what do you call good source of using your test data. Okay, so this is what we heard about Selenium data providers till now. I mean, how you can get the data.